Ｓgg クラブの皆さんにお願いしたいと思います。
はい。
準備よろしいでしょうか。
少々お待ちください。今、画面見えてますかね、皆さん。OK ですか？それでは香川 Ｓｇg からは全編英語で 4つのプレゼンテーションをさせていただくことになります。では、早速始めていきたいと思いますので、お聞き苦しいところもあるかもですが、よろしくお願いします。Hi, it's nice to meet everyone. My name is Masahiro Taki. We are pleased to attend this meeting today, and we have 4 presentations about tourist site in Kagawa Prefecture. First of all, I'll show you the order of the presentations from Kagawa Ssgg. Please look at this slide. First, Shiromineshi Temple by Masahiro Taki. Second, Western Kagawa Prefecture by Masayo Kurokawa. Third, Wrestling Garden by Katsuko Yui. And the final is Takamatsu Castle by Hisao Kaji. I hope you enjoy all our presentations. Well, I am the first presenter. So let's get started. And well, I live in Sakai City, where the Seto Great Witch is. And I've been a member of Kagawa Ssg since 2019. I joined this club because I wanted to introduce Japanese culture and history to foreigners. But unfortunately, I haven't got enough opportunities to be a tour guide due to the pandemic. I think it's the same for everybody here. It was sad and disappointing. That's why I'm excited to have this challenging presentation here. Well, I'm gonna introduce the historical site in my hometown, which is called Shiromineji Temple. Then first, can I ask you a question? Do you know Shiromineji Temple? If yes, please give me some reactions. Okay. There's no surprise that not everybody knows it, but it has a long history and an interesting episode. I'll explain the stories and take in a small virtual tour from now. Shiromineshi Temple is on the top of the hill called Shiromine in this picture. It is the 81st temple of 88 Shikoku sacred temples. It was established by Kobo Daishi, also known as Kukai, about 1,200 years ago. Actually, compared to other famous tourist sites in Kagawa Prefecture, like Wrestling Garden or Kompilasan, Shiromineji Temple is not exactly the most popular site. Probably it's hard to find the name in guidebooks. But even if it's a little known place, you can find a lot of interesting things there. I'd like to show some examples in this presentation. This is the main gate of the temple. And as I said, the temple is one of the 88 sacred temples. It's not only an old temple, but also has a unique legend. It's about most powerful vengeful spirit, which is called Stokuin. Incidentally, vengeful spirits are called onryo in Japanese. They are a kind of ghost that haunts people like Sadako in the Ring series. Anyways, let me introduce who he was. Stokuin was a former Japanese emperor in the late Heian period. It's about over 800 years ago. It's right before the age of samurais. At that time, imperial families, nobles, and samurais fought over the throne. It was a chaotic and dramatic time in Japanese history. He lost in the political conflict with his little brother, and he was exiled to Sanuki, the old Kagawa prefecture. It is said he lived near Shiromineshi Temple, like a prisoner. His life during banishment was lonely and uncomfortable. He couldn't go anywhere without asking, and didn't have friends to be with him. So, he was eager to come back his home, Kyoto. But despite his effort to show submission, His wish had never come true. Finally, he died in deep sadness and fury against the people who pushed him to the miserable situation. In the legend, he wrote a sutra copying with his blood and hatred to curse his enemies. It was believed he had become a vengeful spirit and caused some disasters like fires and his enemies' deaths and wars that led to the establishment of the Kamakura shogunate, the first samurai government. In the meaning, it's not an overstatement that he ended one period. As a result, he was thought to be the most powerful vengeful spirit in Japanese history. People were scared of him and needed to make his spirit in peace. So, he was enshrined in the mausoleum next to the Shiromine temple. Now, you can see his tomb beside the temple. Okay, well, let's get into the temple. There are also many interesting things in the precincts except for its history and main buildings. Such things make it more attractive and fascinating. What you can find there depends on you. In this temple, I found a weird custom. In the temple, you can find a lot of mechanical charms on some stone lanterns like this. I'm not sure if this brings you some benefits or luck, but for some reason, it seems that visitors left them. Meanwhile, I found a similar custom in another temple in the 74th temple called Koyama-dera. So maybe there are these kinds of customs around your place as well. Okay, let's move on to the Hondo. And the building is called Gomado. You can buy some charms and receive a steel stamp, Goshuin, here. And I found a mannequin fortune telling in front of the building, like this. So probably the cats on the lanterns came from here. Well, let's move to the next. On the way to the Hondo, the main hall, there are some stairs like this. It's a mountain temple here. So you'd better get prepared when you visit this temple. And you can also find some mannequin charms beside the guardian lion dogs, Koma Inu. It looks like they are welcome us. And you can also find so many maple trees in this temple. They are all that green, like in this picture, but you'll enjoy the autumn leaves if you visit here in the autumn upcoming. Okay, well, the next is the main building of the temple, Hondo. This is the main hall called Hondo. It has a Honzon in it. It is the most important Buddhism god in the temple. Normally, every temple has its own Honzon and Hondo. The Honzon of this temple is Senju Kannon, that has a lot of pairs of hands and saves all kinds of people with them. Okay, the next is the last building of this tour. This hall is called Daishiro. It enshrines Kobo dice in it. All 88 sacred temples have a set of Hondo and Daishiro. It's a unique feature compared to other temples. They are associated with Kobo dice, and the Ohenro pilgrimage is based on the belief that Kobo dice will help us even now. It's symbolically expressed in one word, Dogyo, meaning. It means Kobo dice will always be with you during your journey. This belief connects people with sacred temples like a Juzu. Okay, now we finished this small tour of Shiromine Temple. How did you like it? It would be nice if you find something interesting and bring back some useful idea for your reference. And the most important thing that I like to deliver is There must be something worth seeing along your place. History, culture, buildings, nature, and wonderful people. The list goes on. If you find it, you'll tell somebody about it, won't you? Okay, that's all. Thank you for listening. And then the next presenter is Miss Kurokawa. Miss Kurokawa, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Taki. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Masayo Kurokawa. I've been a member of the Kagawa Ｓgg Club for almost 2 years. I'm going to talk about 3 places located in Western Kagawa: Zenzuji Temple, Kompira Shrine, and the Chichibuga Beach. I hope you will pique your interest in those places by the end of my presentation. The first place is Zenzuji Temple, number 75, sacred temple on the Shikoku pilgrimage. It is the birthplace of Kobo Daishi or Kukai, the founder of the Shingon esoteric sect of Buddhism. This temple has the largest temple compound on Shikoku. It consists of 2 parts, Eastern Precinct and the Western Precinct. In the Eastern Precinct, main hall, which is called the Kondo, where medicine Buddha is worshipped. This medicine Buddha has a medicine jar in his left hand, and there are crystal stones placed into his eyes. Another noteworthy building is a 5-story pagoda, 43 meters high. A pagoda is where Buddha's bones are said to be enshrined. Each story represents one particular element: earth, water, fire, wind, and sky or the universe. There is an interesting architectural feature inside the pagoda. The pagoda's central pillar does not stick into the ground. Instead, it floats from the ground or is suspended from the ceiling. It's called a suspension method. Probably its purpose was to make the pagoda quake resistant. Nearby stands 2 big and old camphor trees, which are said to be over 1,000 years old. Legend says that Kukai enjoyed sitting under the cool shades of the trees in his childhood. Now let's move on to the West Precinct. This is called Miedo Hall, which was built on the ruins of Kukai's family house, where he was born. Actually, next to the hall, there is a very old well, from which the water for Kukai's first bath was taken. Just underneath the hall, there is a 100-meter long tunnel, which is completely dark. Darkness of human minds or human ignorance of the truth is said to be simplified. Touching the wall, you can walk on through the passage for your self-reflection or purification. At the end of the tunnel, you will hear Kukai's voice. Please remember this. Keep touching the wall, otherwise you would be easily lost in the middle of the dark tunnel. The next destination will be Kompira Shrine in Kotohira town, about a 1-hour train ride from JR Takamatsu. This shrine is well known as the home of the guardian deity for seafarers and as a god of fertility and medicine. It is located on the mountainside of Mount Zozu, which looks like the head of an elephant. Because of its unique shape, it can be recognized very easily, even from the sea. In the former days, this mountain, Mount Zozu, became a very good landmark for fishermen and sailors because they did not have any navigating system like compasses at all. That is one of the reasons why Kompira Shrine was built on the mountainside. There is a long approach to the main hall with 785 stone steps. It takes about 45 minutes or 50 minutes for you to walk up the stairs to the hall. Actually, there are 786 stone steps. In those days, during the Edo period, people enjoyed playing with words. So the number 786 could be pronounced in Japanese, nayamu, meaning worrying or being worried. So people started to say 785, one stone step shorter. In fact, at a certain part of the approach, there is one stone which is intentionally placed lower than the ground. I hope you can find where it is when you are walking around the approach to the hall. At the shrine site, there is the oldest Kabuki theater, which was built in 1835. It is still used as an active Kabuki theater. Every April, a group of Kabuki actors come all the way from Tokyo and perform Kabuki plays for 16 days in the traditional atmosphere, exactly same atmosphere as 200 years ago. However, as you know, because of the coronavirus pandemic, since last year, the performances have been in suspension. It is said that next April 2, the performances will be cancelled. Once you may wonder why there is such a Kabuki theater at the shrine sites. During the Edo period, seeing a performance in the theater became one big attraction for pilgrims to Kompira Shrine from all over Japan. So that is one of the reasons why Kabuki theater stands at the shrine sites. Once you step into the theater, you may feel as if you had been transported through time back to the Edo period, 200 years ago. The last place for me to talk about is Ssgg Beach, located in Mitoyo City, which is about 1 kilometer long beach, and it is called Japan's Saturday Uyuni. When there is no wind to disturb the water surface at low tides, the sky can be beautifully reflected on tidal pools, which form in the sands, creating a natural mirror effect. In particular, at sunsets, at low tide, the scenery becomes much more beautiful and outstanding. I recommend you to hold your camera at the lower position on one side of a tidal pool, and then to take a picture or pictures of your friends standing on the other side of the pool. Voila! You can get one of these amazing photos with unforgettable memories for your Instagram. I hope my presentation has increased your interest in Kagawa, in particularly Western Kagawa. The next presenter will be Ms. Katsuko Yui.
Thank you, Kurakawa. Hello, members of Shikoku Ssgg. My name is Katsuko Yui, a member of Kagawa Ssgg. Have you ever been to Little Garden? I think many people who live in Shikoku have come here once or twice. So today, I'll show you ducting, extraordinary with Q&A. Question 1 to 1. Why is a garden called Little Garden or Chestnut Forest Garden, even though there are many pine trees? That's right. This garden is said to be the most beautiful pine trees garden in Japan. Thanks to the gardeners of many generations, there are about 1,000 well-cared pine trees like Tsurukamematsu or crane and turtle pine tree, Hakomatsu and Byobumatsu namiki, or a row of box pine trees and screen pine trees. And there are various theories about the origin of the name. First theory, the name comes from the word praying in Bizlin of Soshi, who is a Chinese influential thinker. Second theory, it's derived from the place name Bizlin. And the third theory, chestnut were planted in this garden to prepare for bud harvest, and the pillar was called Rizlin so. By the way, question 1 to 2. Are there chestnut trees now? Yes, there are some. Nowadays, there are 7 chestnut trees on the north side of Higurashi tea house. Next, the garden, which is a typical daimyo garden, has many gorgeous rock formations everywhere. But question 2, why are small stones simply assembled only here? Because here is a birthplace of Rizlin garden called Shofuda. 140 small stones were collected here. In fact, there was a villa that belonged to the powerful Sato family about 400 years ago, and the stonework is said to be a technique of Muromachi period. A birthplace Shofuda is easy to find if you aim for Yatsuhashi Bridge that is lined with flying geese and made of hinoki cypress. Question 3, Is it true that it took more than 100 years to create this garden? That's true. First, Ikoma, who ruled Sanuki, started to build the garden from the southern part around here, about 400 years ago, and the next feudal Matsudaira family continues to maintain and expand it. And it has taken more than 100 years to complete it. It's extremely rare because other great gardens in Japan were built in dozen years. And 11 generations of Matsudaira family used it as a pillar of successful feudal road for 228 years until the Meiji Restoration. Question 421. Is the waterfall natural or not natural, artificial? Sincerely, Mount Shiu has a low height and natural waterfalls don't flow, so it's a man-made waterfall called Okedoi no Taki. Some may know the anecdote of this waterfall, but please listen. On the hot summer day, when the road passed by, what happened?マイク入ってないんですか？
入ってるよ。
入ってますよ。OK です。田中さん、マイクを切ってください。
Okay.
私
On the hot summer day, when the road passed in front of Seiko Lake, he was very pleased to see the water flowing down, and the rock wall. In fact, the water was manually carried to a tub or oke on the mountainside and drained through a gutter or a toy. Currently, Seiko Lake's water is pumped up and drained from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Question 422. Can I go to the top of Okedoi no Toki waterfall? Yes, of course. You can climb up and see it from above. If you walk along the promenade for a while from the side of the Inari Shrine near JR station, you will find it in the tent in the surrounding bushes. Watch your step because it's a little bit dangerous. Luckily, you can see the water flowing from there. Also, you can see our big tea house, Kikugetsute, half hidden among the trees. Well, as you climb Mount Shiu, you'll find white sign about 30 centimeters above the ground in some places. What a surprise! It said Ritsurin-garu. This mountain is certainly Ritsurin-garu. Mount Shiu forms the beautiful background of the scene. It's not called Ssggg, or it's not making use of the surrounding landscape. By the way, Ritsurin Garden has actually 16 famous places and are arranged in different feelings and special atmosphere. Exactly, you can enjoy the scenery step by step. Today, I introduced remarkable sights to you. Thank you for your attention. See you next time in this garden. The next speaker will be Mr. Kaji.
共有画面切ってください。すいません。ゆいさん、共有画面。
Okay.
はい、ありがとうございました。 聞こえてますでしょうか。
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Yui. Hello, my name is Hisao Kaji. I am a member of Kagawa Ｓgg for about 10 years. I'd like to guide you to Takamatsu Castle. This is a map of Takamatsu Castle area. Here is Takamatsu Castle, and this is JR Takamatsu Station. So you can go to the castle from the station on foot very soon. This is Takamatsu Castle area from the sky. As you see, the castle faces the Seto Inland Sea. Takamatsu Castle is one of the 3 famous waterfront castles in Japan. This is an old castle town map in Edo period. You can find, excuse me, you can find the main castle tower, inner moat, middle moat, outer moat, and the Seto Inland Sea. From the offshore, people said Takamatsu Castle looks like it is floating on the sea wave. The seawater flows into and out of the moat through the water gate. This is water gate. You can enjoy boating in the moat. The sea fish is coming near the boat, wanting your feeding, such as sea red bream and black bream. This is red bream. This is black bream. Let me explain the history of Takamatsu Castle. In 1587, Ikoma Chikamasa, a powerful retainer of Toyotomi Hideyoshi, came to Sanuki province. In 1590, Ikoma Chikamasa completed the construction of Takamatsu Castle. In 1642, Matsudaira Yorishige took over Ikoma family. Yorishige was the elder brother of Mito Mitsukuni, better known as Mito Komon. In 1954, Takamatsu Castle was designated as a National Historic Site. In 1955, the castle was opened to general public as Tamamo Park. Let me introduce some, excuse me. Excuse me. Let me introduce some national important cultural properties in this photo. This is Tsukimi Yagura, the tower to watch the Seto Inland Sea. There was seawater around here in Edo era. This is Nsgg. Feudal roads went out through this gate to Edo for Sankin Kotai. Feudal roads got on the boat called Gozabune like this for his Sankin Kotai. Nine years ago, this Hyunkaku building became a national important cultural property. In Edo period, there was the old Hyunkaku here, but it was demolished in early Meiji era. In 1917, the new Hyunkaku building, Hyunkaku, was reconstructed by Matsudaira family for their villa in Takamatsu. Now, this Hyunkaku building is a precious cultural legacy of Taisho era, and people use it for their cultural events such as tea ceremony and music concerts. I'd like to talk about recent news related to Takamatsu Castle. As the entrance of Sannomaru, there was the old Sakura Gomon gate, which was decided to become a national treasure in 1944. But it was burnt down because of the air raid by America in 1945. Now, the new Sakura Gomon gate is under reconstruction, which is going to be completed next summer. We believe the new Sakura Gomon gate will become a very popular spot after the completion. Let me talk about the reconstruction movement of the main castle tower. This is an old photo of the main castle tower before it was demolished in Meiji era. The height of the castle tower building was 29 meters, the highest one in Shikoku. 3 years ago, Takamatsu city mayor visited the cultural agency in Tokyo with 100,000 citizens signed to the castle restoration. But the cultural agency requested more information, such as the old castle design drawings, the architecture model, and photos. Last year, there was a good news that the regulation of the agency seemed to be eased to some extent for the restoration. We hope our dream of Takamatsu Castle restoration will come true in near future. Now we finish Kagawa Ｓgg presentation. Thank you for your listening. We welcome your visit to Kagawa in future. See you then. Thank you. プレゼンは以上でございます。